Welcome to SAE Podcast, your audio gateway into the stories that fuel the fastest sport on earth. I'm Dhritamang Goswami, and today we're not just watching from the stands or riding on board with our favorite driver. We're pulling back the curtain on Formula One's most exclusive and mysterious ecosystem. Today's episode is titled The World Behind the Track Inside the Formula One Paddock. When people think of Formula One, they imagine the scream of V6 turbo hybrids, glamorous podiums, and wheel to wheel action. But there's a hidden world beyond the checkered flag, a nomadic, high pressure city of its own that follows the circus across five continents. This is the paddock, the traveling nerve center, where data, discipline, and drama converge. A place that never sleeps, where a thousand decisions shape the outcome of every race long before the lights go out. So plug in, strap down, and clear your mind because over the next 2 hours, we are going to take you on an immersive journey behind the scenes of Formula One. From the nuts and bolts of logistics to the silent chess games of team politics. This is your all access pass to the world behind the track.
That's a great intro, Dhatiman, and myself, Pavitran. So here we are going to imagine a scenario of how a racetrack looks on Thursdays. The grandstands are empty and the air is still, the dramatic cold under early morning light. It's quite airy so, but just behind the pit wall, life is unfolding at full speed. A miniature city is rising, cranes are lifting, forklifts are buzzing, and wires are being laid, banner and ruled. And in matter of hours, what was once an empty paddock transforms into Formula One's high-tech base of operations. The restricted zone, the paddock, is the nucleus of every Grand Prix weekend. And it's not just where cars are prepared, it's where the teams live, plan, build, and solve, recover, and strategize. So every teams bring along their own motorhome, mobile headquarters packed into molecular containers, and that expand outwards and upward into glass-walled architectural marvels. And some are two stories tall, and others include meeting rooms, espresso bars, full kitchens, quiet rooms, gyms, and digital control sensors. In some races, drivers sleep in complex itself. This isn't a trailer; it's a war room with mood lighting. Team principals operate behind frosted glass doors, and strategy meetings happen over bowls of pasta on touchscreen tables. So drivers are debriefed, and recharged. Media managers schedule an interview and film content for a global fan base. Everything here is designed for performance and the ergonomic chairs and the ambient temperature. And just meters away is the polished, calm, and inside garages. The different kind of intensity, mechanics unpack the freight of drill team precision, and cars are rebuilt from components. Engineers are fired up with system checks, gearbox are swapped, and the pressures are locked. Live telemetry feeds begin flowing back to mission control centers thousands of miles away. And the pit crew members rehearse stops over, and perfecting their second choreography. It's loud, it's hot, it smells of oil, carbon, and caffeine. So this is where milliseconds are found and not lost.
See, if the car crashes on Friday, the team may work through the night to rebuild it. Mechanics routinely clock 18 to 20-hour shifts during tough weekends. There's no room for fatigue, no margin for error. Even the smallest oversight and uncalibrated torque wrench, a misread sensor, can compromise an entire race. Access here is tightly controlled. Every badge is color coded, RFID tagged, and checked at multiple security gates. A wrong pass just won't stop you from getting into a garage. It might stop you from entering the entire paddock. VIPs, journalists, officials, engineers, and guests all operate within distinct zones. It's a finely tuned hierarchy where clearance equals visibility. And at the center of it all are the teams, 10 of them, each with their own colors, customs, rituals, and rhythms. But for all the machinery, buildings, and systems, the real heartbeat of the paddock is human. The traveling circus of Formula One is built around people. Over 1,000 personnel moving from country to country, living out of suitcases, running on adrenaline precision. There are logisticians, chefs, trainers, engineers, tire techs, communication experts, and pit stop crews. They know each other's routine. They see the same faces in Bahrain, in Baku, in Brazil. Birthdays are celebrated in hospitality tents. Friendships form in airport lounges. Entire lives unfold in between practice sessions and long haul flights. And this city isn't permanent. It's built and dismantled up to 23 times a season. It's set up in deserts, on city streets, by the sea, in mountains, and in the shadow of skyscrapers. It endures rainstorms, sandstorms, and heat waves. It lives for a few days and then vanishes, only to reappear a week later on the other side of the planet. This is the paddock. It's not just the backstage of Formula One, it is Formula One. Hidden in plain sight, always in motion, always alive.
Let's break it down. Every team in Formula One arrives at a race weekend with an army of 60 to 120 specialists, each one essential, each one in a cog in precisely calibrated machines. These are the people behind the curtain, the ones who make the entire show possible. Drivers may take the spotlight, but it's this team, engineers, mechanics, analysts, strategists, hospitality staff, and more, that allows them to shine. Among the most vital voices on race day is the race engineer. They're more than just a radio voice. They interpret thousands of data points in real time and translate them into calm, actionable feedback under pressure. Brake temperatures too high, differential needs adjustment, tailwind in sector 2. They read the car's pulse and adjust its behavior, while a driver with only words. In the cockpit, drivers rely on them like a pilot relies on a co pilot. The bond is built on trust and time, forged through hours in the simulator and race after race in every condition imaginable. Performance engineers dig even deeper. They live in the data. They tweak the car setup across hundreds of variables: ride height, camber, toe, brake migration, front wing angles, all calibrated to the circuit and weather. They know how a 1 degree temperature change will affect the tire behavior. How a slight tweak in brake balance will influence corner entry at turn 14. Their job is a part science, part art, and completely relentless. Then come the tire specialists. They monitor pressure, temperature, wear rate, surface graining, and internal carcass temperature in near real time. Their advice determines when to pit, which compound to use, and how aggressively the driver can push. They work with strategists who model dozens of race simulations during the event, adjusting on the fly as safety car appear on the tire degradation evolves faster than expected. Mechanics are the foot soldiers of the paddock. They build and strip cars with millimeter level precision. During a crash or mechanical failure, they spring into action like battlefield surgeons, diagnosing, repairing, and rebuilding in hours what would normally take days. Every nut and bolt is torqued to spec, every component checked and signed off. There's no room for improvisation and no tolerance for error. The car rolls out of the garage for qualifying. It's a product of sleepless night and thousands of coordinated actions.
Well said, Ritiman. But I think the paddock is not only about the garage floor, but beyond the garage floor, the machine keeps humming. Team coordinators and logistics staffs are the unsung hero. They organize travel visas, flight clearances, and hotel rooms, meal schedules, and ground transportation, and even gym access for F1 drivers. Imagine your F1 driver being fat. So they plan the weeks in advance so that everyone arrives in time, fed, dressed, and ready to perform. If a team has delay at customs or misses a flight connection, it it's not just an inconvenient; it's potentially a catastrophe. So there are some com staff who handle the media interactions, manage social media platforms, and control the public messaging in real time. They are the IT personnel who maintain the secure data links between the tracks and the factory. And there are trainers, doctors, nutritionists, and mental coaches all working, all behind the scene to keep the human side of the machine operating at peak capacity. Even in the hospitality suits, staff work around the clock to host guests, partner, and sponsors, and media. So they are not just serving food, they are protecting a brand because Formula One, imagine a perception matter almost much of a performance. Together, these people form a living, breathing organisms of the paddock. They may come from different continents, speak different languages, and specialize widely in different disciplines. But they operate as one unit. Every action is connected, and every decision has ripple effect. Formula One isn't a solo sport; it's a team sport disguised as an individual context, and nowhere the team effort was more visible or more vital than the paddock itself.
Now let's talk about the logistics. The paddock doesn't just teleport from Bahrain to Suzuka. It moves with precision, urgency, and a level of planning that rivals military operations. What the fans see on Friday, gleaming garages, camera crews, hospitality lounges, and ready to run cars, is the result of a week long ballet across air, sea, and road. Each Formula One team maintains several full sets of rides. These aren't just backup tools, they are meticulously organized systems. Safe Ride is for long lead equipment, garage furniture, tire ovens, gym gear, hospitality banners, even kitchen appliances. These containers are sent out weeks, sometimes months in advance, traveling across oceans to meet the sport where it's going next. It's the most cost effective method, but it's slow, which is why it's reversed for things that can wait. What can't wait? Air flight. This is where real heart of the operation lies. Cars, wings, suspension parts, ECUs, radios, pit stop guns, laptops, timing systems, spare power units, and driver specific hardware all go by hair. It's high priority and high risk, split across multiple chartered aircraft to reduce the chance of a single point failure. Everything is catalogued, weight balanced, tracked by GPS, and timed down to the hour. Even personal hydration systems, driver cool suits, and floor panels are flown out because a 1 hour delay could derail an entire session. Then there's road freight. During the European leg of the season, teams unleash a convoy of purpose built transporters. Massive articulated trucks wrapped in team liveries carrying equipment, spare parts, and even entire pit walls. These trucks roll through the night from Monaco to Barcelona, from Spa to Monza, threading across borders and motorways under strict timing windows. Drivers are veterans, often covering thousands of kilometers in silence while the rest of the sport sleeps. DHL, the official logistics partner of Formula One, orchestrates the entire global ballet. The job is to move over 1,400 tons of gear per race. That includes the obvious cars, tools, tires, but also the hidden essentials: espresso machines, steam radios, router tracks, driver cooling stations, branded chairs, and kilometers of the fiber optic cables. No crate is random, no kilogram is unaccounted for.
As Netra just said, once the freight arrives at the circuit, the advanced crews get to the work. First, the foundations. Garage floors are laid, air lines run, lighting installed. Then, the garage builds upward. Pit gantries, tire racks, workstations, cooling systems, telemetry links are established back to the factory. Hospitality units are assembled like pop up hotels, kitchens, lounges, and interview zones. Everything from the team comms room to the coffee machines must be tested, synced, and race ready, usually within 48 to 72 hours. And here's the catch: one small hiccup can jeopardize it all. A container held up at the customs can delay a car build. A missed cargo connection could leave a team short on rear wings. Even bad weather in a departure city can cause a domino effect that stretches all the way to the FP1. That's why team plans redundancies into the logistics just as carefully as they do in the cars. But Formula One isn't just moving fast, it's trying to move smart. Sport has committed to the carbon neutrality by 2030, and logistics plays a massive role in that transformation. Sustainable aviation fuel is being trialed. Routes are optimized using advanced software. Lighter, reusable packaging is being introduced. Rail and electric trucks are being explored for ground transport. In some cases, remote work has placed the need to fly certain engineers thanks to a real-time data link between the paddock and the team's HQs. This is a paddock that doesn't just care about performance; it also cares about footprint. Because what people forget is that Formula One doesn't just build a trackside village every week. It builds a fully functioning city, one with electricity, plumbing, network infrastructure, catering, hospitality, security, and a full-scale media operations. And then, As quickly as it appeared, it all vanishes. By Monday morning, the garages are stripped, the containers loaded, its truck fueled, the air freight rerouted, and the entire show is headed somewhere else. It's not magic, it's logistics. It's not chaos, it's choreography. The paddock isn't just fast, it's always moving.
That's well said, Rhythm. And as you said, it is not magic, it's logistics, and it is not chaos, it's choreography. And as we can see in the modern paddock, the race isn't just on the track, it's in front of cameras, behind the closed doors, in press briefs and hospitality suites, and in FIA meeting rooms. Because today, everything and every second is filmed, clipped, and uploaded and analyzed. Even before our favorite F1 driver is on the track, we can see him on our screens in the social media platforms. So the cameras are everywhere. The Netflix crew roam freely to drive to survive. The hunting dramas with the cinematically intense. The Sky Sports reporters take the garages with live feed rolling. TikTok teams produce behind the scenes reels and Instagram stories how to show how the driver stretching before the FP1. Even a walk to the paddock toilet can become a meme. Every glance, nod, whisper, or smirk is a fair game. Did Toto Wolff just cold shoulder Christian Horner? We don't know. So why did Zach Brown and Lauren Mickey have the quiet world outside the FIA motorhome? Was the smile from Andrea Stella genuine or hiding something deeper? So these micro moments shape the week's headlines and they are not accidental. Teams know they are being watched and in fact many of them choreograph it. But beneath the sound bites and the viral clips lies something deeper. The political machinery of F1. So every team principals aren't just managers, they are diplomats, they are lawyers, strategists, and when necessary, silent assassins. They navigate a battlefield of shifting alliances, opaque regulations, and corporate pressure. So their job isn't just to run the teams, it's to outmaneuver the rest. Every race weekend includes multiple briefings with the FIA. Every team was argue the points and dispute penalties and pressure that stewards. So it's a constant game of lobbying, a push and pull between interpreting the rules, bending them without breaking them. The suspect rivals floorboard of the illegal flex, file a name protest. So think their rear wing flutters at speed. Submit a 3D analysis with the CFD simulations. Believe your driver was wrongfully penalized. So draft. So there are these tantrums and they make the tactics.
In F1, perception is as powerful as performance. Teams shape driver narratives in the media, painting rookies as prodigies, veterans as legends, and rivals as reckless or overhyped. Sometimes press conferences are more than just routine, they are calculated PR weapons. A single line dropped at the right moment can spark doubt, generate controversy, or sway public opinion before a penalty is decided. This is the invisible race, the one fought with microphones, press briefings, data files, and political maneuvering. No one is immune, even the FIA is under pressure, accused of bias, inconsistency, or excessive interference. Behind the scenes, team managers form temporary alliances to push rule changes. One week they are united against cost cap tweaks, the next they are tearing each other apart over tire blanket bans or wind tunnel time allocations. And still in the background, sponsor watch closely, investor crunch numbers, legal teams review every clause. Because every move matters on and off the track. This isn't paranoia, this is survival. In a sport where hundreds of seconds can decide championships and where billions are at stake, what happens outside the garage can be just as decisive as what happens inside the cockpit. The modern paddock is not just a place, it's a theater, a courtroom, a chessboard. And the smartest players know you don't just win races, you win narratives. And sometimes that's the difference between a title and an obituary.
Well said, Detra. Let's shift gears. You can't talk about the paddock without talking about the grids, the speed, the sweat, the science. Yes, it's all there. But so is something else luxury, status, power, money. Because while Formula One is a motorsport, it's also a global brand empire. And the paddock is its beating commercial heart. Enter the Paddock Club, a world within a world, floating just above the pit lane. an ultra exclusive skybox where the price of entry is measured in five figures and the experience is curated down to the last crystal glass. The Paddock Club isn't just a viewing platform, it's Formula One's front row throne. 3-day passes can cost anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000, depending on the circuit. For that price, you're not just watching the race, you're stepping into an immersive, VIP only universe. Here, guests sip vintage champagne while overlooking the garages, open bars pour craft cocktail before noon. Michelin starred chefs design race day menus. There are live Q&As with the drivers and the team principals, garage tours, pit lane walks, even access to private team briefings in some cases. Want a selfie with a car that just came off flying a lap? You can get it if you're in the right circle. This is where the money moves. It's not just fans, it's CEOs, royalty, tech billionaires, movie stars, fashion moguls. Think Leonardo DiCaprio chatting with Toto Wolff, a Brad Pitt shaking hands with Stefano Domenicali, Elon Musk walking with plate plane with Christian Horner, or Rihanna filming content for her brand with a team partner backdrop.
So, as you said, Dhriman, we have seen in screens that what is Elon Musk walking in the pit lane with Christian Horner or Rihanna film a content. So, this all rounds up that F1 is a $1 billion sponsorship industry, and so these sponsorships are bought into the teams inside the paddock. So here, $1 billion sponsorships are whispered over Wagyu sliders, and global deals are drafted between practice sessions. So new investors are quoted under LED lit hospitality dooms where practice runs echo in the background. So it's networking on a global stage with high octane drama just meters away. Every paddock appearance is a statement, whether it's a business power move, a media campaign launch, or a celebrity flaunting their team alliance. Yet just the steps away in the garages, the vibe is entirely different. No tuxedos, no truffle canopies, just engineers with headsets, drivers in the zone, and the pit crew rehearsing tire change over and over. No one here sips champagne. The only drink are electrolyte formulas and the protein shots. The only fragrance is the brake dust and the tire drum. The only luxury is data that makes the car faster. So there's discipline in F1 that gets distracted by glitz. While one part of the paddock toes caviar dreams, the other one is a word of milliseconds and metrics. No matter how shiny the stage becomes, the sport never lets the performance live. And that's the balancing act. Formula One, both spectacle and a sport. It sells fantasy to the world while delivering a product built on relentless precision. It's as much as Leclerc and Verstappen as it's Prada and Porsche. As much as the tire strategy is about image strategies. And it all converges to the paddock, where engineering meets entertainment, where pressure meets prestige, and where racing meets royalty.
Now let's talk about the race day. The atmosphere in the paddock shifts from routine to ritual, from preparation to purpose. It's no longer just a workplace, it's a pressure cooker. You can feel it in the air, thick with anticipation, humming with nerves, buzzing with radio chatter. By the time the sun rises over the circuit, the tone has changed. Tension is visible, smiles are fewer, conversations are clipped, direct, focus is absolute. Drivers arrive early, long before the cameras do. They head straight into final briefings with the engineers, discuss tire options, formation lap procedures, likely safety car scenarios, and breakaway projections. Some drivers plug into stimulators one last time. Others sit in silence, headphones on, visualizing every apex, every gear shift, every possible outcome. Meanwhile, the mechanics hover over the cars like surgeons over patients. Final checks are executed with military precision. Torque wrenches are calibrated, tire pressures are adjusted, cooling ducts checked, wheel guns tested. No detail is too small, no room for error. In the engineering bays, eyes are fixed on multi screen setups showing live telemetry feeds, weather models update in real time, cloud cover, wind gust, humidity levels, because a single degree of track temperature can change the entire tire strategy. Strategists run complex simulations with branching logic trees. What if there's an early safety car? What if rain hits only in sector 2? What if a rival pits on lap 18? Every scenario is gamed out. Earpieces crackle with communication from race control, from pit wall, and from mission control back at team HQs in Brackley, Maranello, Fianza, and beyond. The modern paddock is synchronized across continents. Decision made in Italy or the UK affect what happens on a corner exit in Montreal or Suzuka. When the race begins, the garage transforms.
A garage. It becomes a war room. Strategists whisper into microphones. Engineers monitor power unit temperatures, ERS harvesting, fuel flow, tire delta. Pit crews line up in the lane with drill team choreography. Tools in a hand, visors down. It's not a pit stop, it's performance. 2.2 seconds of perfection, sometimes 1.9. And just one mistake. A cross threaded nut, a late jack lift, a front width snag can cost positions, points, podiums. The strategy wall pulses with information, life sector times, GPS traces, weather radars, onboard from variable cars. Is it time to undercut? Should we risk the softs? Do we double stack? The decisions are made in real time, with lives and legacies on the line. But the checkered flag isn't the end, not even close. As the drivers park their car, the post race begins. Mechanics swarm the cart for tear down inspections. Engineers dive into terabytes of data. Debriefs happen behind the closed doors. Calm, surgical, relentless. Every oversteer movement, every spike in tire temperature, every dropped tenth is dissected. Crew members head straight from garages to airport. Logistic teams begin breaking down the garage, the hospitality units, the corps infrastructure. Containers are loaded, tools stored. Within a few hours, what looked like a bustling micro city has begun to vanish. Forklifts move silently through now empty corridors. Tents come down, signs are pulled off walls. By midnight, the paddock that rose with life just hours ago in half court. And by morning, it will be nothing more than a concrete again. Until the next race.
Well said, Ritiman. I couldn't imagine how the F1 track would look like after all the lights going out and all the engines being taken away. But now let's talk about another important thing. With being the gender, we talk about gender in every sport, and same applies to Formula One. Formula One has been perceived as a male-dominated sport for the image of gradually being redefined. Behind the roaring engines and high-speed drama lies a quite a revolution: the rise of women within the heart of the pad. No longer confined to the margins, women now hold key positions across nearly every facet of the sport, from the garages to boardrooms and from control rooms to commentary boxes. Their influence is undeniable and growing. In race strategy, figures like Ruth Bushcombe have become a household names within the paddock, known for their sharp tactical mind. Bushcombe has worked with Schauber and Haas, helping call crucial in-race decisions that define the podiums. Engineers like Lara Mueller are breaking barriers in some of the most technical and demanding roles, leading projects in aerodynamics, data science, and vehicle dynamics that directly influence the car's performance on race day. So teams like Mercedes and Ferrari now include women among their top aerodynamics and simulation experts. So these specialists operate in most complex areas of the motorsport, working on a flow visualization and a drag reduction, virtual modeling to enhance the lap time. Their work doesn't grab headlines, but it wins races. Off the track, women power the business of Formula One. In media and communications, they manage the global storytelling for the teams and drivers. In marketing and branding, they build the partnership with hundreds of millions in legal and regulatory affairs. Women shape the rules and govern fair play and technical compliance.
Leadership is also evolving. Claire Williams, once deputy team principal of Williams Racing, ran one of the most iconic teams in F1 history, pushing for inclusivity and innovation during her tenure. Today, Susie Wolf, herself a former test driver, leads the F1 Academy, a program focused on developing the next generation of female drivers, giving young women a pathway into single seater racing like never before. The fight is not only about inclusion, it's about normalizing the presence of women in high stakes environments historically dominated by men. It's about fostering a culture where skills are what matter, not gender, not assumptions, not tradition. Still, change is in motion. Initiatives like Girls on Track by the FIA Team based internships for female engineers and mentorship networks within the paddock are all helping reshape the sport foundations. And so, as the spotlight shines on the grid and the world watches the drivers line up, it's worth remembering that a different kind of race is also underway. The race towards a more equal, open, and inclusive Formula One. The paddock is evolving slowly but steadily into a place where your worth is defined not by who you are but by what you bring to the team.
While the paddock feels like the center of the Formula One universe, it's actually just the tip of a much larger and more intricate iceberg. Behind the pit walls, away from the television cameras and the roar of the engines, the real race often unfolds in silence. Inside wind tunnels, simulation rigs, and the ultra secure engineering hubs scattered across Europe, whether it's in Brackley, Maranello, Milton Keynes, or working or Enstone. Entire armies of engineers, aerodynamicists, software developers, and strategists are working in real time, often around the clock, to feed the paddock the information and tools it needs to fight for every millisecond. These factories aren't just workplaces, they're Formula One war rooms. And on Grand Prix weekends, they become fully operational command centers, connected via high bandwidth satellites, uplinks, and fiber optic data streams. These facilities house dedicated mission control rooms, often resembling NASA operations centers more than car garages. Inside, teams of performance engineers pour over thousands of live telemetry channels, monitoring everything from tire temperature to fuel flow rates, GPS location, ERS harvesting patterns, and even driver biometric data. While a handful of engineers are trackside, the majority are back at base. And they are not just watching, they are actively strategizing with access to powerful simulations and AI assisted modeling tools. They can run race predictions in real time. They simulate thousands of potential outcomes. What if a safety car comes on lap 18? What if it rains only in sector 3? Should we undercut or overcut Hamilton? Should we switch to a higher downforce rear wing? These aren't just guessed, they're computed.
As you said, Dhriman, they are not guessed and they are computed. And we can see team working day and night in strategizing and analyzing the odd outcomes. Between Friday's free practice 1 and Saturday's FP3, entire car setup direction can change. It is not uncommon for a team to run virtual tests overnight, evaluating the suspension settings, brake maps, or aerodynamics works in the digital twins of actual car. Then feed the optimal parameters back to the garage by sunrise. These digital models are so accurate that they set up refinements done in simulator in the battery can immediately improve lap time in Montreal, Baku, or Suzuka. Sometimes it's not just about theory, it's about hardware. If a new floor, front wing flap, or a cooling duct shows promise in overnight CFD simulation or wind tunnel data, the factory doesn't wait. The parts can be produced overnight in rapid prototyping facilities using 3D printed models, CNC machining, or carbon fiber layups. The finished components are rushed up to the airport, often on private jets or express cargo flights, arriving in the time for installation before qualifying. So there are even been cases where parts arrive minutes before the curfew ends, still warm from the autoclave. This feedback loop, tracked to sim factory and back, is now the heart of modern F1 operations. It's not just a team effort, it's synchronized global dance of data, logistics, engineering, precision planning, and what might take weeks in other industry happen here in hours. And that's why, while the paddock is fast, the factory is faster.
And there you have it, the world behind the track. The paddock is a place of mystery, mastery, and madness, a symphony of steel, carbon fiber, minds, and ambition. It's where the magic happens when no one is watching. Next time you see a race, take a moment to imagine what lies just out of frame. The sleepless nights, the hidden strategies, the rivalries off camera. Because behind every podium, there's a paddock, and behind every paddock, there's a story. Thank you for tuning into SAE Podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe, share, and let us know which corners of the motorsport would you like us to explore next. Until next time, I am Netra, and this has been the world behind the track.